Okay, so last week we talked about the move tool and the alignment tool, as well as the ellipse selection tool and the rectangle selection tool. And here the free select, or in some software, especially in Photoshop, they call this the lasso tool, and the scissor select for more sensible selections, and the foreground select, and as well as this fuzzy select or the magic wand, we call them, and the select by color tool as well. We get to know about the cropping and this list: unified transformation, rotation, scale, shearing, flips, and all these things. And we get to know about the wrap transform as well as the cage transform. And we get to know how to fill some selections or some images from the paint bucket as well as from the gradient. And we talk about the paintbrush tool as well, the pencils, airbrush, ink, and all these things. And you know about the eraser tool we use to erase that. And finally, we were talking about the clone and the healing tool, right? So today we are going to talk about this smudge, blur, dodge tools, right? As well as we have the path tool, right? So we can draw the paths, right? As well as a very important one, the text tool, and this measurement tool, as well as there is the color picker. So we can take any color, we can pick any color anywhere we want, and the zoom tool, right? So to go with the smudge, blur, and dodge, let me open a picture. What are we going to open today? I wish if there's a face. So let me download a face, right? Hold on. Yes. So much better we download face which is ready to do the dodge tool and those things. I think this face is good, but it is not that not good with resolutions. Let me have this. Yeah, let me have this face. I think this is good. All right, so let me take that face. Here's my face. Oh, I can't find my face. Oh, those are the recently used. Hold on. Fix. Yes, there you go. Right now, the reason why I took a face over here is like this dodge tool allow us to make the face into a darker mode as well as into a brighter mode. Right now, this lady's face is bright actually, right? So it's a fair lady. So if I want to
lady, this is really nice.
Yes, she is. So if I want to make her face, let's say much darker, so I can take the dodge tool.
Much darker?
And yes, and in here, you have the type, which is saying burn as well as dodge. So I'm going to take burn, this mod over here. Right, so I'm going to burn.
Do you want to burn it?
Yeah, can you see? Her face is now, her fairness is fading away. All right, see?
Daddy, is that?
It's,
Are you gonna burn it?
yeah, she took a tan color, tan kind of color. If I apply this much, see?
Oh, wow. It's getting really dark.
Yes, so it's kind of
A tan color.
yes, so it's kind of a tan color. All right, you can see how the things can be changed.
Wow.
All right.
It's getting really dark.
So now it's kind of
A tan color.
yeah, and it's a little bit scary, right?
Yes. It is kind of scary.
Yes, it is kind of scary.
We need to make it much lighter again.
Right. So likewise, you can make the colors of a picture into a burning effect, into a burning side, right?
It looks scary.
Let me download a color of a dark face. Let's say the Black American face. Okay, let's take this lady's one.
Ooh, is that another lady? Maybe this one.
This is much better.
Okay, so that one. Are you sure that's a lady? Daddy, are you sure that's a lady?
Yes, hold on. I need a darker face.
A darker face?
Yes. Oh, we'll take the Will Smith. He's an actor. So they can hear you.
Funny.
There you go. All right. So I'm going to take Will Smith face.
Okay.
And how did I save that?
Oh.
And where did I save that? That's a mistake I made.
Mistake. Funny.
Let me save it again. Oh, it's there. It says images. Let me see. Images, it's over here. Yes. It's not that quality, but we'll have it like this.
Yeah.
And I'm going to reduce the size. Yes, and now I'm going to do dodging, not the burn-in option that I'm taking. I'm taking the dodge option.
Dodge.
All right, look at this. Look at this, huh? Oh, he is becoming a white person.
Yes, he is.
Did you see that? Okay.
I see that. This was
white one.
white.
If you want to make him much whiter, yes, of course you can take it into a much whiter one.
Whoa. Hey, just like the lady.
Right. So that is how you use the burn tool, and you can use the burn and dodging for many different things. Yeah. So, but this is a one good example that they do. Right?
It's not scary anymore.
It's not scary anymore. Yes. People, is that clear? The difference between the burning and the dodging.
Maybe.
Everyone, is that clear? All right, and we are going to the path tool. So to find the path tool, let me open a different picture. Yeah, I'll take the car. I think I have taken the car earlier, but I'll take it again. Instead of car, it's better I take the face. I think it's better I take the face again. Hold on. Let me take the face again, because it will be easier when I'm like, yeah. And now since the car is here, I'll go through the blur and smudge tool as well. All right. So if I take the blur tool, I can use the blur tool to blur out any area that I want, right? So to blur out, yeah, let me take this elephant photographs, right? So since the elephant is here, I need to blur out the background, right? Now you can see this this area of the picture, they are blurred already, right? I want to blur the surrounding as well, right? So let me take the blur tool, and I'm increasing the size, right? So look what happens now. The clearness, the sharpness in this area are beginning to blur when I use the blur tool, right? Here I'm going. Yeah. Can you see what happens? It is blurring out, see? And if you want to blur out the this area, so I can blur it out, see? It will be blurred.
Daddy, what's blur?
The blur means that you can't see things properly, Susu.
Oh. We can't see things.
Right, so now when you blur things, so the picture in the foreground will be much sharper, no, like will be like will be contrast much.
I can't see the car anymore.
So, right, so blurring is not very much visible, but you can see some of the blurring is going on. Right now, the elephant in the foreground is much contrast. Now, if you apply the blur tool on the elephant, you can see that elephant is also being blurred. Look at this. Right? See?
Look at that.
Look at the eye of the elephant, and then look at the tusk as well. Right? Those things are getting blurred. It's not a very sharp picture that you are going to see.
Funny.
Right? So that is what you call blurring out, right?
Blurring out.
You can blur things up to a certain point, people, not entirely. Right, and to show you how the smudge tool is working, I'm using the same picture, right? So smudge tool, it's like smudging means, දැන් අපි දන්නවනේ නේද තීන්ත බිඳුවක් කොලයකට දාලා අපි ඇඟිල්ලෙන් තීන්ත බිඳුව එහෙ මෙහෙ කරොත් කොලේ උඩ අර පාට නිකන් ගෑවිලා යනවා වගේ කරන්නේ අපි තීන්ත බිඳුවක අතට අරගෙන නේද පොයින්ට් එකෙන් අපි ඇන්දොත් පොලේ එතකොට ඒක බොඳ වෙනවා ස්මජ් වෙනවා. අන්න ඒ වගේ මේ ස්මජ් කරනවා කියන්නේ ඒකට. දැන් මම මගේ mouse එක තියලා ක්ලික් කරනකොට මේ this is smudging. Right? So the point where we are going to click and drag, it's going to give you the smudge effect on your picture, right? So you can use this in different scenarios with a bigger diameter or with a smaller diameter, which will help you to smudge some area, right? So that is what is going on with the smudge, blur, and the dodge tool, right? People, is that clear? Okay. Right. So the next one that I'm going to talk to you is the path tool. So the path tool, I'm taking the face again. So this path tool will give you the chance of selecting a particular component. If it is a much curvy component, it will be easier for us to use. Now, if you want to take
later.
Yeah, not now, so after the class, huh? After the class I will do that. So if you want to select only the face of this lady without the hair, right? So like, you know that you can do the selection using free tool, and free tool we have to like go like this, and we have to be very careful when it is being selected, right? And that selection will be not a very smooth selection, right? And if we go with the scissor tool will help us to select or do a much better selection, but again the smoothness will not be 100%, right? And if we choose the path tool, we can do the selection like this. Look at this, people. So like, I'm going to start from here. I can make the straight lines if I click on the points that I want, as well as okay, so hold on. As well as you can create, hold on, people, I think some settings have changed over here. Hold on. Right, as well as you can do the selection in a curvy manner as well. Now, if you click on somewhere, if you just click on some other place, it will create a straight line. So once I complete my selection, and if I right click and go to the select, and if I say from path, select from path, so it will just select the path that I have choose. So if I do it like this,
Ladies, it's not going. Hey, one of the ladies are gonna go.
right, so
Maybe it's not going.
Right? If you do the selection like this, you click on one point, you click on the other point, and without releasing the mouse button, if you drag, then you can do a curvy selection. Can you see that? It is selecting in a curve manner. And then you can do the continuation. And from here to here, I'm going to do a small curve. And this will help you to do much smoother selection. Right? So let's say I need to select curvely over here. It is possible. Right? I can choose these two handles to handle how curved my picture is, or like to handle how curved my path is. If I click on another dot, it will give me the ability of managing my selections curve like this. Right, and one arm is showing the next direction, other arm is maintaining the curve. So likewise, I can click and drag the points. Right, so once I have selected this, if I want to do any adjustments, so I can just do the adjustment by clicking on the dots I have made. So I can move them. Be careful when you are moving. It will, most probably it will harm your selection, or like change your selection. Right, so after I have done this selection, I can select here, select from path. This particular tool property is there. Or I can choose fill path, or I can say stroke path. That means just a stroke is going to be chosen. So I will do the select path. So when the selection is there, I can do the copy and the pasting part. So I'll paste it as a new layer. So if I close the original layer, now you can see a one with the smooth edges. The smooth edge වලින් තමයි කාන්ට කපලා අරගෙන තියෙන්නේ. Right, කඩතුළු වෙච්ච ස්වභාවය නැහැ. Right? So pathies help us to do a selection in that manner. Yes, people? Are we clear about that? Everyone? Okay, great. So the next one is the text tool, right? So before I come to the text tool, I'll go with this measure tool. Measure tool will help us to measure how long our measurement is. Right, when I'm doing this, can you concentrate on the status bar over here? And me යටම තියෙන status bar එක චුට්ටක් concentrate කරන්න. Right? So when I click and drag it, so it shows my distance. right? It says 497.7 pixels. If I make this centimeters, so I can have it from centimeters. Now from here to here, it is 18 centimeters. So that means it's a huge, this is kind of a big picture where I'm choosing or where I'm measuring the distance. So it will be easier when these things are with us, because we can place, like if we have the dimensions, so we can place the things from the particular distance when we have the measure tool, right? And the color picker tool help us to pick a color. Now, when I'm picking a color, my foreground color here, the black square, is going to change. Now, if I click over here, it's going to be something, see, beige kind of color. If I click on the lips, it's going to give us reddish color or the pinkish colors. If I click on the eyes, it's going to give us the black color. If I click on the over here, it's going to give us some gray colors. If you want brown, dark brown, I click on the eyebrows, right? So color picker is there to pick a particular color. Right now that will be very much helpful if you are using something which does not have a background. Let's say an example. Let's see. Let's think this the background of this car need to be filled with the exact green color or this gray color that you can see inside the wheel. May wheel එක තියෙන gray color එකෙන් මේ background එක fill කරගන්න ඕනේ. Right? So what I can do is I'm going to take a new layer. You can take a new layer from here, from the new layer button. Right over here. So once I click on the new layer, it asks me to give some name for that layer. So I keep as background and I say okay. Now I got two layers, car PNG and the background. So if I take the my bucket, and if I choose a particular color from here, let's say I took blue, and if I select the background layer and click it, there you go. Entire layer become blue, and if I change the order, I can just drag it below the car PNG, so I can place it like this. So let's say I need to fill the background with the color of these brake pads. So what I can do is I can take the color picker and pick the color of the brake pads. Now the gray color is over here. So I can take the bucket fill and apply it. So now it's like this. See? So if you want to fill it with this green color of the car, so wait, right? I can take that green color. So here the background color becomes green, and I can select the background, take the color bucket and put that green color, right? So likewise, I can change the colors, or I can pick the specific colors using the color picker. People, are we clear with that? Okay. Right. Now the zoom tool, right? You have two mods, zoom out and zoom in, right? So I have choose the zoom out. So if I click, it will be smaller, getting smaller. If I press zoom in, I can make it zoom in. And without that tool, just using the control key, and if you scroll your mouse wheel up, it will make the image smaller. If you move the scroll wheel down, it will make the image bigger. All right. So you can manage your size of the picture using control plus mouse wheel movements, or using the zoom tool. So you can zoom in and zoom out. Right. So I'm going to use the text tool over here as well. Right. So I select the text tool. This will help me to take the fonts on this particular image. So I'll click on that font and click and drag over here. So it provides me a small window to specify my font. And here, they don't allow you to choose fonts, people. It's just, hold on a second. Sasrika, you can find the paint bucket. You may, sometimes it shows you the gradient tool. So just go to the gradient tool and right click. So you can find the paint bucket and you can select the paint bucket. Right. And I click in on the text tool and I select an area to print. And here it is taken as Thoma bold. And this name, you are not given any drop down to choose what kind of a font that you are going to use. Instead of that, if you are just taking, or like if you are typing, if you type A over here, it will show the fonts that is starting from A in your computer. So if you want to take a font from B, you have to start it from B. Then only you will be able to see the font starting from B. Right. So I'm going to take, yes, Susu. We are going to buy that one, Susu. Yeah. So you can, here I have chosen the Britannica bold. The can also pick toys from yes, so let me. Yes, I have chosen the Britannica board. Oh, there it is. Never mind. I'll take the Thoma bold, and there is a size, and you can change the size if you want after you have typed the things. So let me type. And I can't see the fonts because my font color goes with the foreground color. So I'm going to change the font color. And you are given color picker over here as well. So I'm taking the color picker and copying down the black from the car and say, okay, so it is here. And oh, I'm sorry about this print things. I will cancel it out. And the power has disconnected around my area, people. So yeah, I think I may last with the with my power with the laptop. My battery is not very much good. So since we are doing a graphic editing software, I hope and pray let it last until 4 o'clock. All right. So let me type the word Lamborghini. So this is because this is the brand name of this car. So I'll use the caps. Lamborghini. Is it correct? Let me check the spellings for Lamborghini. Yes, Lamborghini, right? GHI is there. Lamborghini, right? So now you can select this and you can make the changes, increase the font. And if it is, if you got no enough room, you can make the room, you can adjust it. All right. And from these tools over here, some small tools are there. Oh, I'm sorry. So let me take the, yeah, as you can see, there is a tool for the bolding, italic, underline, and strike through. So I can do all these things. If I select this and if I press bold, it's not getting bold because it's a bolded font that I have choose. And I can do the italic, I can do the underline, and I can do the strike through as well. And these two things will help me to change the baseline of the selected text. Like the basement means like how far the next line is going to be printed, right? As well as here under the property, we have some options. We can increase the line spacing. So if I say Lamborghini car, so if I choose these two, and if I increase yeah, this is regarding the indentation. If I need to apply the indentation, for some reason it's not happening. Let me see. There comes the indentation. So likewise, you can indent. And this, of course, the next one is, of course, the line spacing. I can make it much further than them, or I can just take it much closer to them. Like this. Right, and this particular tool, it is about making the letters much distance from each other, right? So likewise, you can manage the fonts on a particular picture, right? As well as there are some other tricks that you can play as well, right? Let me show you one thing that that you can do with the fonts. Let me take this as a one particular line, and let me adjust this to 0, and let me reduce the space in between. And what I'm going to do is I will select this, and I can right click on this, or not right clicking. I'm going to right click on the layer, the font layer. I have given a separate layer for the fonts. So I can right click on the layer, and I can choose this option, alpha to selection. So when I press alpha to selection, I can select the letter margins from here. So then I can click, or like I can copy it and paste it. So it's going to paste as these names, like as the names that I have used, right? And yeah, hold on. I think I mixed it up. Hold on. Right now, since I have these are things I have done. I have right click on the text layer, went to the alpha to selection. So my letters are being selected as the shapes. I'm taking a new line, and I'm making this as shadow, and I press OK. Right, and what I'm going to do is, now I'm going to copy this and paste it on the shadow. Or I can select the shadow and just hit the what we call the delete button, right? And let's see whether this is going to work. I'm taking a gradient, and I'm like gradient from left to right. Yes, this is what I need to take. Right now, this is not the letters that I have taken, people. Right? එතකොට මම කරේ letters ටික select කරලා ඒකේ copy එකක් අරගෙන paste කරා empty layer එකක. ඒ empty layer එකේ එතකොට copy වෙන්නේ අර අකුරු වල හැඩය තමයි. ඊට පස්සේ මට ඒකට මං කැමති gradient එකක් දෙන්න පුළුවන්. Right? So I can take away the yes, I can take away my particular thing, and I can choose some other gradient like this, and I can manage it. Right, so likewise, you can apply some other things as well. So I'll let go all the, oh my God, sorry, my bad. What else? I think my shadow was replaced by the this particular one. Hold on, let me do the trick that I have done earlier. So what I'm going to do is I'm pressing alpha to selection. I press my shadow. I'll copy it and I paste it. I'm sorry, not the copy pasting. I'm just done the deleting part. And I apply the shadow. Yes. All right. So I go to the select and press select none. Yes, this is what I was wanting to have. So I can place it at any place I want. Right. So likewise, you can manage that. Right. So you can apply, you can use your fonts like that, and having an alpha channel and making the this content much bigger in your thing, or like on your layer, it will be a much better one. Right. And if you think a lot, you can like go with a lot of things. Right. So yeah, one another thing that I can show you over here is like having this car onto the Lamborghini car font, right? So it can be done like this as well. For that, I really need some bigger fonts. And let me off this and let me enable this. And I'm going to select it and make it a little bit bigger like this. And let me arrange it all over the this. So I'll get rid of the word car. Just the word Lamborghini. And let me make it much bigger. So it will like go through the entire thing. Let me break the word from here. It's better I break it from here. And I'll make it much bigger until it is spread all over the picture. Now my car is like, I have hidden the car. So what I need is like, I want to take my car behind the fonts. So I'll take this at the top and enabling the car. And even not this I want, I want to see the car through my letters, right? So to do that, I'm going to resize the car. I'll scale the car to a much, hold on, to a much bigger size. Right, and then I can move the car and like place it like over here. Yeah, I'll place it right like this. And now what I'm going to do is I'll get rid of this shadow one, and I'll take a new layer. I'll rename it shadow as well, and I'm going to go to the this particular one and right click, and I'll say alpha to selection, and I select shadow, and I press the delete. Right, and I'm going to off my the font layer. Then I'm going to take the bucket fill. I'm going to fill my shadow layer from this color. No, hold on. I think it's not going to paint the rest of the things. Hold on. Okay, can I swap the selection? Let's say alpha to selection, and no, I don't think it's going to work. You know, hold on, hold on. Ah, yes, now it happens. Right, so now I have the car. If I off the background, and if I take, I can move my car or the background right over here. So I can place my car right like this, like in a way that it matches the ground. Right, so අපිට shadow layer එක තව වෙන color එකකින් set කරගන්න තිබුණා නම් හොඳයි. අපි බලමු වෙන එකක් apply වෙනවද කියලා යාට. කොහමද black එක දීලා බලමු. නෑ black එක හරියන්නේ නැහැ. Let's try about some reds. Yes. So likewise. Right, ඒක හරි color combination එකෙන් pick කරගත්තා නම් අපිට මේ අපේ අකුරු ටික ඇතුලෙන් picture එක manage කරන්න පුළුවන්. Right, ඊට පස්සේ අපිට තියෙන picture එක move කරලා අදාළ විදිහට ඒක හදා ගන්න. ඉතින් මේක පිටිපස්සට එක එක පින්තූර ඕගලන්ට දාන්න පුළුවන්. Right, දාලා ඕගලන්ගේ නම පිටිපස්සට නේද? ඔයගොල්ලෝ සමහරවිට දැකලා ඇති. ඒ කියන්නේ පින්තූර කියන වචනේ නමේ වචනේ ඇතුලේ පින්තූර තියෙන එක. ඒතර ඒ වගේ එකක් මෙතනිනුත් manage කරගන්න පුළුවන්. Right, this is not in your syllabus people. I just had a thought whether we can try this or not. So I was just having the idea just to try it out and see whether it is working or not. Okay, so these are the things that we can go with the GIMP, right? So I think you had a good idea about what is capable of, what is the GIMP, what's the capability of the GIMP. So just have a try. Are we clear about the things that we were talking about until this point, people? Do you got any extra questions regarding this? Okay. Right, great. All right, so I'm going to close the GIMP tool. I'm discarding everything. All right. And yeah, one last thing, people. I think I haven't show you like how to save your work in GIMP, right? Right, how to export things. I couldn't show that to you. So let me do a small adjustment quickly and show how to export things. So I'll take this background. I'm going to open the car as a layer. And I'm going to place it using the perspective tool on the road. We did this last time, right? I think you can remember. All right, so some perspection has done. So I'm placing the car at the middle of the road. All right, so if I want to export, what I have done is I can go to the file. I can choose export as, and it's going to give me the name and the extension. Extension is JPG here. I'm using desktop. I'm choosing desktop to export this, and I name this as car and road .jpg, and it is very important for you to give the extension, right? So I give car and road.jpg and press export. And it's going to show me a small window where I can manage the quality and all these things. Here, you don't need to touch anything, like just export. Right, then you can see the output that you have done over here. So this is the image we create using the GIMP. So we can use it as for any particular thing. So it is coming as a JPG picture. And if you just save your document, it's going to save as a GIMP document, right? I'm going to save it on the desktop, giving the same name, car and the road.xcf. You can see the extension XCF. XCF is the extension for the GIMP files. So if I save this, I can see my project file as well. So this is my project file, which is the GIMP file. So if I close this, I can double click and open it. So it shows me my project. So I can do the changes and for any changes, and then I can export it again if I want. And this is the final output or the image that I have export using the GIMP. Okay, people, are we clear? Everyone? All right, great. So the next tool I'm going to give you is the Vectorian Giotto. And people, since I am opening an animation tool, in case suddenly if my laptop is off, the session will be closed, people, right? So I really don't have any backup device with me for the moment. So if the session is down, that's the end of the session for today, right? So please be alert, right? I'm going to fix the things by next week. Like my solar system is not up and running these days, so I don't have any backups. Even my laptop battery is not in a good condition, right? So it's just draining too fastly when I'm doing things like with these kind of softwares. So excuse me if it got off suddenly, right? So I'm going to execute it anyway, right? So this is what you call Victorian Giotto, right? And people, this is a very primary tool, right? For you to understand how animation is working. So through here, we are going to show you how a certain object can be animated, as well as how we can yeah, like Sasrika, if I turn on my power saving, sometimes it stucks through these softwares. So that's why I'm not turning on the power saver, because it limits all the facilities that I'm having in the computer. Right. Anyway, thanks for reminding it. So in this software, you are going to learn about the small animations, and I'll show you the things. So at the top, we got a menu as usually, and we got some tools as well. And like we saw in the GIMP, we have similar type of tools in Victorian Giotto. Like there are some differences at some with some tools, but most of them are the same. Like this is the selection tool or the moving tool. This is the path selection tool. This is the pencil tool. This is the freeform selection or the lasso tool. Using this tool, you can import a particular image. This is to have some text on the working area. This is to draw the shapes. This is for circle. This is for square. And if you click on this arrowhead, you will be given different kinds of shapes. And the pencil tool, the brush tool, and these two, of course, this is free transform tool. So you can flip the things. And this is fill transform tool. And this is the ink tool. And this is the paint bucket. This is the ink fountain. And this is the eyedropper. You can take any color you want from any particular picture. And here comes the eraser. So there is something called hand tool as well as the zoom tool, which will do the same kind of job which is done in the GIMP. All right, so I'll quickly go through this. This is my working area, so I can make it bigger in the same way that I was making it bigger in the GIMP. So control and mouse wheel up and down. Right, so in the animation tools, we call this the stage. Right, so it's better you take it as fit to window when you are doing the any particular animation, right? Or you can make it smaller, or like the size that you want over here. And this has the rulers in the very same way, and this area is the important area, right? So these tiny things that you can see over here are called the frames. These are called frames. So animation, it is working as a collection of frames. Like frame means, like, just think about pictures. So animation works as a collection of pictures. So when we take the pictures in a very speed manner, so we can see it doing an animation. අපි අර පුංචි කාලේ පොතේ එක කෙලවරක dots තියලා dot එකක් move වෙන හැටි ඔයගොල්ලෝ animate කරලා ඇතිනේ. So the same thing happens. So dot is everywhere in every page corner. So when we move those page corners very quickly, so we can see the dot is moving here and there. So the same thing is going to be done over here, right? So I'll try something new. So here in the this is the color palette for these shapes, right? So the pen color will be determined here and the brush color will be determined here. So that means if you choose line tools or the pencil tools, those colors will be determined from this area. And if you select the brush, the color of it is determined by this area, right? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to import a small picture over here. Let's see, this is going to work. And in the D from the pics, I'm going to take this bike PNG. It's kind of big. Let me see how to resize it. Oops, it got closed. Yeah, when we are doing things, something like those can be happened, right? එයාට සමහරලාට memory handle කරගන්න බැරි වුණාම එයා ඒ විදිහට ඔක automatically close කරනවා, right? So because of that, I may not take anything bigger. So I just take the traditional thing, which is a circle, right? So how did I draw the circle? I choose the circle tool from here, or the oval tool, and I'm drawing the oval, just clicking and dragging. So likewise, you can draw the ovals, right? And if you want to select any of these, go to the selection tool, which is this black arrowhead, and you can just click on any particular object. You can see the selection is happening with some small white dots. So once you select it, you can delete if you don't want, and you can select and move it here and there if you want, right? So likewise, and this doesn't give you the ability to resize it. And I think the resize can be done by this, but it's kind of weird resizing that we can do, right? Because each and every point can be managed, right? So likewise, you can take any object into this. So when you have an object, that object is on the layer 1. So we can have different kinds of layers here if we want, right? Then we got complex 3D cartoons වල මේ වගේ theory එකක් තමයි යන්නේ. එක character එකක් manage කරගන්න එක layer එකක් තියෙනවා. Layers ගොඩක තමයි ඉන්න characters ටික maintain කරන්න. Right? So here I'm just having one particular layer, and in that layer I'm having a circle, right? And if you can concentrate on the timeline, it's here, right? So if I select the first frame, then you can see the oval shape. If I select the second frame, see, my circle is gone. If I select the first frame, circle is there. If I select the second frame, no circle is there. So if you want to deal with the circle, yes, so I will be done within a few minutes, right? Have patience. right? So what my purpose is, I'm going to move this, I'm going to apply a small animation to this ball to be moved from this corner to this corner to this end. So to do that, I need a smooth transition or like smooth movement from this particular place to here. So what actually happens is, like, what I really need to do is I have to take this and I have to take a copy of this, and I'm going to the second frame and I'm pasting it. Right? But the problem is I am not allowed to paste my second circle in the second keyframe. Right? So for that, wait. Let me see what it is. From where did you take this? Where did you take this? From here. Then from here. Wait, I'll give you something to table. You go on with this. Oh, no, you go on with this. There you go. Hold it and do the step. Right. So what I can do is I can place my object over here. Careful with your hands. Right. You can place your object over here. And let's assume that you need your object on the 40th frame. Right. So now in the second frame, this object should be moved a little forward. In the third frame, this object should be moved a little further. Likewise, frame by frame, this need to move a little bit forward. Right? Then only you will be seeing an animation when the timeline goes from first time frame to some particular frame. Right? So let's assume that I'm going to do my changes. In the first frame, my object is over here. In the 40th frame, I need my object at the other corner. Right? The frames 40කින් තමයි මෙයා move වෙනවා පෙන්වන්නේ. ඒතර frames 40ක් කියලා කියන්නේ පින්තූර 40ක් කියලා හිතනවා. එතකොට මේ පින්තූර 40 අපි කරන්නේ පළවෙනි frame එකේදී මේ පින්තූරේ මේ කෙළවරේ තියෙනවා, දෙවෙනි frame එකේදී මේ පින්තූරේ පොඩ්ඩක් ඉස්සරහට move කරලා තියෙනවා. ඒ වගේ frames 40ක් යනකොට එයා පොඩ්ඩ move කරලා මේ කෙළවරට අරන් එනවා. So ඒ 40ම එක speed එකකින් change කරනකොට අපිට පේන්නේ ball එක move වෙනවා වගේ. Right? So to do that in vectorial ditto, first you have to decide when to start. What that means, what is the first keyframe? Keyframe. What is the first keyframe that you are going to place your object? And then you have to decide what is the last keyframe. So I decide the 40th one is going to be my last keyframe, and I select the 40th frame and right click and say insert keyframe. So once I say insert keyframe, there is a difference happens in between those frames, which is 1 and 40. Look at it again. Let me magnify it for you. Right. So the first keyframe is this. That is where my ball is, my object is. In the 40th keyframe, nothing is there. I right click over here and I make it as insert in a keyframe. So once I click it, look what happens to my timeline. See, earlier it was something like this, but now the frames in between are disappearing. As well as there is a different. Once I click the first frame, I can see the object. Then I click the second frame, I can still see the object. Earlier, it was not the case. Now, each and every frame has my object until it comes to the 40th. And from the 41st, I don't have it. Right? People, did you got what I have done so far? So I place my object on the first frame. Then I move to the 40th. I right click on it. And I say insert keyframe. Once I insert a keyframe, all the frames in between the first and the last keyframe has my object. Did you get that? Okay. So now in the first keyframe I place, it is going to be start from here. And if I click on the 40th keyframe, still my object is over here. But on the 40th keyframe, my object should be somewhere over here. So in the first keyframe, it is over here. In the 40th keyframe, it should be over here. Now the first and the last keyframe has the ball in the correct positions. Wait, so wait, I will help after the class. Then on the second keyframe, third, fourth, likewise, there is no changes for my ball. Even if I go and press the 39th keyframe, still it is in the starting position. But in the 40th keyframe, it suddenly moves to the very last end. So there's a small thing that I need to do to find the animation in between these positions. I right click on this gray area in between my first keyframe and the last keyframe. Let's say somewhere over here. I click and I am choosing create motion tween, the very first option, create motion tween. And once I click that, there is a difference. There's something there's something going to happen in between the first and the last keyframes. Look closely. I click it. Did you see that? Now it has an arrow starting from the first keyframe and going towards the 40th keyframe. And look what has happened now. In the first keyframe, it is at the left edge. And frame by frame, now it is moving. Can you see that? So motion tween is the one which helps us to create that thing. All right. And now our small animation is done. So here at the top, we got the controllers for the animation. So I can click one of the the play button. So it shows you a movie. Right? So if I go to the first keyframe and press play, so it shows how to move. Yes, hold on. So likewise, people, I can change my movements accordingly. So for the when I move to the 20th keyframe, if I choose to be my ball over here, look what has happened. See, it comes towards the 20th and move towards the 40th. Right? So if I press play, see, now it is happening like that. So likewise, you can change, you can do a lot of movements if you want to have this in a bouncy movement. So in the 5th one, you move it over here. In the 10th, you again move it to the top. In the 15th, you move it to the down. In the 20th, you move it up. All right, so let's see what is going to happen. Oh, look at that. people. So that's what you can do with the animations, right? Did you got the idea? Like how a small animation can be done. So you can do many different things. If you want to do a smooth animation, so have a bigger timeline, right? දැන් මම මෙයා මෙතනට play කරන්න තප්පර කීයක් යනවද? 1 2 3 4. So this is just 4 seconds which is spending, right? So that means if I need to move to the 600 keyframe to make something a 1 minute video, right? So මෙතන වෙන්නේ තප්පර 4ක animation එකක් සිද්ධ වෙන්නේ, right? Okay, so now if you want a second object, what you can do is you can take another layer. So you got first layer and the second layer, right? So in the second layer, what we can do is we can get rid of this keyframe. Right, so I can take out the layers visibility from this small icon over here. Right, මෙයාව click කරාම මෙයාගේ visibility නැති වෙනවා. Right, so I'm closing the first layer for the moment and the second layer is here. So what I'm going to do is I'm taking a square. I'm taking a small square. I will give some other color. Hold on, Susu. I will give a different color. So with the paint bucket, once I click on this, it will become green. All right. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to insert a keyframe on the 40th. And I'm going to create a motion tween in between. Before I create the motion tween, I move the, in the 40th position, I move my square to this level, right? And I'm create a motion tween in between these two, right? And I'm coming to my first one and labeling the layer one. So my two objects are over here. Look what happens when I play. See? So it goes like that, right? So this is the way of animating the things, right? And it does not have any meaning, right? So to make it meaningful, you have to use different kinds of objects, different kinds of pictures. So you have to think about how an animation is going to happen, right? So next week, I'll show you something interesting, right? And I'll show you the things that I'm going to work with by next week. Next week, I'm going to show you how to create a small animation, something like this. Yeah, using these pictures, we can create a walking boy, right? And yeah, this is the one we have made, right? We can create something like this with those pictures. It's a different technology, a different tactic, actually. And I'll show you how to do that as well, right? It's not in your syllabus, but I'll show you that is something very interesting, right? You can download these kind of pictures and crop these kind of things. I have taken it from this picture, which I downloaded from the internet, and I have cropped each and every frame into a separate frames like this. So then I use those things on the G11. All right. It's no, Sasrika, it is not an animated GIF. This is a SWF file, which is supported for the kind of a flash animations, right? So to create a GIF, actually, I really don't think we can use G02 to create the GIF. I'll search it and see, right, how it's going to happen. Okay, people. So I am ending the session from this point. So next week we are going to do much about animation, and I'm pretty sure we will be able to go for the audio editing part as well, right? So get ready. Yes, Asrika. You can create SWF files from Flash and in many different files, in many different softwares, right? And yeah, so by next week, we'll do the rest of the things in G-Auto and move to the audio editing part, which we are going to use the Audacity as well, right? Okay, people. So thank you very much. I'll see you next week to do the animation stuff and the audio editing stuff, right? So until then, have a nice week, right? And have a nice weekend as well, right? Thank you very much, everyone. I'll see you on next week for the very same time.